Hello, tonight my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and we're speaking with lead singer Vince Thrill. And Vince, you're in the Motley Crue tribute band Public Enemy #1 based out of Arizona. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, now I guess the best place to start this interview off is if you could tell the people listening how you first got into the music of Motley Crue.
Well, about 7 years ago, I was singing at a bar, and somebody said, "Hey, man, you sound a lot like Vince Neil," and they said you should really do a Motley Crue tribute because you sound just like what you sing. I said, "Well, I've never thought about doing anything like that," and I thought about it a little bit more, and a few weeks went on. A few weeks went on, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try." And so I put an ad out on Craigslist looking for the rest of the band, and that's how it all began.
And so, were you much of a Motley fan before you started doing it, or did you kind of get more into the music once you put the band together?
I've always been a Crue fan since '81, since they first started out, and it just kind of clicked with me that I like the music, and I like the band, and that it helped that I sounded like Vince when I sing.
So you said you put ads out as far as getting the other musicians. Did you know any of the other guys from the club scene, or did you meet them all through the ads you put out there?
I met the other guys from the ad I put out there. I first found our first guy, which was Nicky Licks, and I found him. He was actually looking to put together a Skid Row tribute band or a Motley Crue tribute band, and he had saw my ad, and he responded to my ad, and that's who I first picked up to start the band off. And later on down the road, we found Frankie Styles.
Wow.
Next door, so.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, looking at your guys' Facebook page, you all really look the part. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I mean, you really look like Vince Neil back in the day. How important was that for you guys to get the look down as much as the sound when you put the band together?
It was extremely important, and we passed on a few guys when we were looking because we wanted it to be as close as possible. I think when you do a tribute band, especially a professional tribute band, all the members really need to look like the original members as close as possible, because there was other bands out there already doing, the later Crue tribute, like Carnival Ascent and later on.
Yeah.
We wanted to do the '80s style. You don't really see a whole lot of bands that are doing that do it justice very much, and so we pushed very hard to make sure that our look is what you would have saw in the '80s if you had gone and seen Motley Crue.
Yeah, and part of the reason I started doing interviews with guys like you that playing the tribute bands is, from my experience, there's a big misconception. A lot of people are under a misconception that, guys that play tribute bands are failed musicians, or guys that couldn't make it doing their own music. But I've gone out to a lot of these tribute shows, and that's just not the case. I mean, especially like talking to a band like Public Enemy #1, like I said, it's more than just a bunch of guys in their jeans and t-shirts jumping up on stage and playing Motley Crue songs. I mean, you guys take it so far to the extreme, like I said, where somebody would almost think that you were Vince Neil back in the day. You really look the part, so much.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, I push really hard to make sure, one, that the look is down. Like, we do a Shout at the Devil area, and we also do Theater of Pain, and I make all my own costumes. So I study the pictures, I study the videos, I study what Vince did, back then. I'd seen, the Shout at the Devil tour, and then I went to theater and girls and Dr. Phil Gates. So I've seen all those looks and those eras, and I also watch video day in and day out so much that, I think I drive myself crazy with it sometimes, but, some people say I'm infatuated with it. I'm not infatuated. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it justice. I'm doing it the way a tribute should be done. Again,
that shows you just all the hard work that goes into what you do, because I'm really impressed to learn that you, take the time to make your own costumes. I mean, because, again, when I go on the Facebook page, I look at, the pictures of you, Vince, especially, there's a lot of stuff. It looks like that you were really into the Theater of Pain era, and you look just like Vince from back in 1985. So, like, to make one of these costumes, how long does that typically take you?
We had originally started off doing the Theater of Pain costume, and that costume there took about, I want to say, 3 months to do.
Wow.
And the new Shout at the Arrow costume was about 3 or 4 months to do. It was a little bit more intricate than the Theater of Pain costume, but like I said, I studied pictures, I studied video, just to make sure that when I was making this costume, that I wanted it to be exactly a replica of what you would have seen Vince wear. So I try to get as close as possible. Is it exact? Probably not, but it's very, very close.
And the cool thing about doing a tribute to a band like Motley Crue is, they're one of these bands, again, that it's more than just a band that plays music. I mean, you really, the look's a big part of that show. I mean, they're got a little more of a glam thing going than, say, Kiss or whatever. But cool thing about Motley Crue, like, they never look the same from album to album. They have, different look, and that's one thing I've always really thought was cool about the band. Constantly changing their image,
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the one thing I liked about it too. If you look at them from the 2011 album when they first started off, they were pretty rare, rare or raw, you would say. They started off and they kind of just made their costumes out of whatever they could find, and they didn't really call them costumes. They were just their stage clothes.
Yeah.
But they would make them out of whatever they could find. If they were girls' clothes or guys' clothes, they didn't care. That's what they wore. So, to give them a different look, they wanted that little punk style look, but be a little bit heavier. So, and that's how it started out. And then you can see as they progressed, their costumes got a little bit better and even better and better. And then the looks changed from Too Fast. It was kind of leather mixed with, girls' clothes, kind of. And then the Shout at the Devil era, then they kind of went to a little more leather look and a little hardcore look. And then theater, they went to the glam look. And then girls, they went back to like a Levi look. And then 89, they went back to the leather look again. So to mix all those different genres, they were like crossing genres. They're from glam hair rock to heavy metal. So that's what I really like about Motley Crue too.
So let me ask you, Vince. I imagine like a lot of musicians in these tribute bands that before you did the tribute thing, that you must have been a guy who did your own original music. So once you started putting Public Enemy together, number one together, I was curious, were you surprised to see the success you could have doing a tribute project as opposed to trying to get your own original music out there, where it might take you 6 or 7 years to even have one hit song?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I play guitar and I sing too. But writing original music is fun, and you can be creative. But to get it to the masses is a little more difficult than doing a tribute band.
Yeah.
There's a certain satisfaction people get from doing original music, and I appreciate that too. But on the other hand, I really like doing the tribute scene, and it gives a chance for people to relive something that they may have not been able to see before, or their kids have not seen. I've had people come up after shows and go, "Wow, that took me right back to 1985. Everything I saw tonight, just where I was at a regular Motley Crue concert." So, and it made me feel good, that we were doing it right. So.
It's interesting you say that, because again, like I said, a lot of people have misconceptions about these tribute bands. My experience has been exactly that. I mean, I remember one of the first tribute bands I ever seen was this Guns N' Roses tribute out here in Hollywood called Hollywood Roses, and the singer Colby Vale, he's actually played with Steven Adler in that. But make a long story short, like you were saying, when I went to see his band, they looked so much like Guns N' Roses from 1987. The guy sounded like Axl Rose. The guitar player looked just like Slash. You'd swear you were at a Guns N' Roses show from 1987. And
absolutely, Hollywood Roses is a great tribute band from LA. I like those guys a lot.
I mean, I had to pinch myself, and am I at a Guns N' Roses show? And I don't know these guys, but they're that good. And that's the thing about it, is that's as close as you're ever going to get to seeing Axl Rose and Slash perform together ever again. So again, if you have a right band and the right group of musicians, you can give your audience a magical night to remember. Like you said, maybe even take them back to their teenage years when they saw some of these bands for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a guy came up to me and he said he was a roadie for Motley Crue on the Theater Pain tour, and he said, "Dan, if I closed my eyes for a second," he goes, "I swear I heard the Coliseum all over again. When you were up there singing and the band was playing." He goes, "I could have swore that was Motley Crue playing again." And it touched my heart. I was like, "Man, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never heard anybody say that before." And they come from a roadie that was for Motley Crue, made me feel really good that we're actually doing it the way it should be done.
Yeah, and let me ask, when you're ever out there, in costume or anything, or just walking around after a show, have you ever been mistaken for Vince Neil? Of course, again, people know you're a tribute, but anybody that might think, this is a real Motley Crue or whatever guy walking around, you do look the part.
Yeah, after a show like, if we were at the Marquee Theater, we did a show at the Marquee Theater here in Phoenix, and after the show, I had a few people come up to me and go, "You know what? are you related to Vince Neil? Do you know how well do you know Vince Neil? Because you really sound like him. Even when you're talking to me, your voice sounds like him, and then when I hear you sing, you sound like him, and then I see you, you kind of look like him. So I don't know, are you guys related? I'm like, no, we're not related, but I appreciate the compliment because Vince is, he's one of my idols. So I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't, I think he was one of the greatest singers that probably ever seen.
Yeah. I'll tell you another cool story, Vince, real quick. Is I interviewed this other guy, Chris Vandell, and he's a Steven Tyler tribute singer, and he's done Legends and that, in Vegas and a couple other places. But he was telling me a story about he got a letter from Aerosmith's lawyer, like a cease and desist for him to quit doing the thing, and then down the line he actually met Steven Tyler and told Steven about this, and Steve was like, F my lawyer. He goes, you let me deal with the lawyer. And he said Steven and him became such great friends that every year at New Year's Eve he gets to go to Steven's New Year's party. And he said one year they played a joke on Steven's son, like backstage at an Aerosmith concert, and Steven's son walked in the room and he thought he was talking to his dad, and it was this other guy that was an impersonator.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I have Vince Neil as actually one of my friends on my friends list, and he's gone into a few of my pictures and seen them, and he's clicked the like button or whatever, and he's real great and stuff like that. So I appreciate the fact that he's actually recognizing that, doing a halfway decent job of portraying him. And, Nick Marr's son is a friend of mine also.
Wow.
And Nick Marr's son agreed. He said, man, you guys really do the Crue justice. It's really great seeing a band put forth the effort that you guys do to make sure it's right. So he goes, like, you really make my dad proud. So. Wow.
How cool is that? I got to ask you, had you a chance to see Motley Crue at all on their final tour? Or is that something you plan to do when they come to your part of town?
Yeah, actually, I think we were like the fourth date for them out of the box this year, and I did go see them, and it was phenomenal. I mean, the stage show is excellent still, and Vince still sounds good, and Nikki and Mick and Tommy. I mean, they all sound really, really good. I mean, 35 years later, the hell that they put themselves through, I wonder that they were still alive. But no, they still sounded great. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great show.
Yeah. And what do you think about the band finally calling it a day?
I saw that, and I think that they're wanting to call it a day. I just watched a recent interview with Mick, and he said they're definitely going to do it. I don't know. I think it's maybe a good thing to quit while you're on top.
Yeah.
Am I going to miss them? Yeah, I'm going to miss them like crazy. But maybe it is a good thing for them to get out on the top while they can. Mick had mentioned that if they kept on playing, he's going to play to a small bar room full of 14 people that want to see Motley Crue.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever happen, but he was trying to put it in that context. But I think they're going out on the top, and I think it's a good thing for them.
Yeah, for a band like Public Enemy #1, I mean, when they finally do play that final show, I mean, that's got to kind of be a good thing for a band like you, in the sense that the real Motley Crue will no longer be around, so people will be wanting to come see, the next best thing, a great Motley Crue tribute band.
Absolutely, and I wish them the best of luck on whatever endeavors they do. I think Mick is going to join up with John Corabi on a project, but I wish them the best of luck in all they do, and it does. It really opens the door for us, Jason. It opens the door for us to be able to play a little bit more than we do now. Our schedule's pretty busy, but I think it'll even develop even more even after they retire. So we'll see what that future holds.
Yeah, I mean, there would be that much more demand for bands that do like what you guys do, and a cool thing about it is for you guys is, I think what people fail to realize is, you guys are as much Motley Crue fans as anybody else, and that's why you put your band together, and once the real Motley Crue, gets on that stage for a final time, you guys will be in a way helping to keep the legacy alive.
Yeah, absolutely, and I had a talk with another person about that the other day, and they were, claimed to be the biggest Crue fan ever. I think there's a lot of people out there that are Crue fans.
Yeah.
But, this person had said, that they're going to miss Motley Crue being gone. After the final, I think they're going to try and finish their leg off. Their last date's going to be at the Whiskey, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
But they said that it's cool that they'll be able to still go out and hear Motley Crue live, being played live. So I think that's going to be a great thing for us.
Yeah, and you know, an interesting thing about it, as far as the guys in Motley going on to other things, I have no doubt. You know, Nicky will be successful whatever he does, because he'll probably be. I think 6 a.m. is going to become his main project. Which, have you had a chance to hear that new album? Because it's pretty good. I think it's the best thing they put out.
Yeah, absolutely. I love 6 a.m. You know, the first time I ever heard one of their songs was live with the Beautiful People, and I was just amazed at how well that song was done. You know, I mean, Nicky's an excellent writer, so I wasn't surprised at all to hear how well it was done. It was just different than Motley Crue here. When doing something different, it was a different singer, and it just blew me away. So the new album I really liked too.
Yeah, I think with the new album, they've finally kind of really found their sound, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to hear a little bit more of that album. I heard a couple songs off of it already, but I'd like to hear the whole album in its entirety.
Yeah, and you know, the interesting thing about, you know, most time when Vince Neil like does a solo show or something, you know, he's got his own solo songs, but most of his set is made up of Motley, you know, Crue songs. So I think that just goes to show you how good these songs really are. You know, they stood the test of time.
Absolutely, 35 years is still going strong. You know, if you could play a song 35 years later and the people are still getting out of their seats, jumping around and having fun, you know, you did something right. So yeah, and you know, for a tribute band to go out there and play those songs that people still appreciate those songs and that music, it really says something for the band itself. You know, same for Motley Crue. Not a lot of bands got that notoriety to be able to go out and, you know, have a tribute band still play their music 35 years later, and people still enjoy it as much as they did, you know, in 1981. Yeah,
you know, the interesting thing is like maybe just about 5 years ago, there wasn't even as many Motley Crue tributes, and more of them seem to be popping up now. I was going to ask you, is the tribute scene there in Arizona, where you guys are from, as big as it is here in LA? I mean, does there seem to be a pretty good scene?
Yeah, it's really big. Brad Thomas, a friend of mine from Soul on Fire, we played with them, and they're a great tribute band. And then we have some friends in an Ozzy tribute band, and Pantera, you know, and Metallica. And so we have a lot of different bands here, tribute bands, and it seems like within the last 5 years, I think they've really gained popularity here in Arizona.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting you bring up your friend Brad Thomas, because as you know, actually he's the one that hooked me up with your band. I'd interviewed him originally, and he was telling me, oh, you know, we've done some shows with this great Motley Crue tribute out here called Public Enemy #1, and that's the cool thing that I really dig about the tribute scene, where the bands, you know, really try to help each other out like that, and you know, and hey, we need somebody to open our show or something. You guys want to open the show for us? There seems to be a real fraternity among the tribute bands, where a lot of times when you're an original band, you're competing with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we try and help each other as much as we can. You know, if we've got a show going on, I'll give Brad a call and send him a message. Hey, what do you guys got going on this date? You guys want to, you know, play with us? And it always seems to work out really good. You know, we have friends in the Judas Priest tribute that we, you know, gig with a few times. You know, Desert Plains are a great tribute band here out in Arizona, and they're really good guys. We all get along really good, and when we can put a big tribute show like that together, it's really cool. It's kind of like an S festival in a small environment, you know.
And so, let me ask you, Vince. As far as being a Motley Crue fan yourself, do you have one album or that you really dig the most? That's your all-time favorite Motley Crue album, or a favorite song you have to perform?
You know, I would say if I had to pick an album out of it's a hard choice.
Yeah.
So many great albums by Motley Crue. But as for me, I'm an early Crue guy. I like the 81, Too Fast for Love, and probably, you know, Bastard is a great song. And then if I had to pick one from Shout, maybe Knock 'em Dead Kid. Or, you know, I like the hard driving heavy stuff, so that's my style.
And so as far as when you guys go to make up a set list, how hard is that? I mean, I imagine you got to put in the songs like that everybody wants to hear, like, you know, Dr. Feelgood and the radio hits, but how much of a set is made up of hits and like deep cuts, maybe, you know, tracks that aren't as well known that you guys, you know, dig though?
We try and put about 70-30. 70 of, you know, the more popular stuff, and then 30% of like shows, you know, songs that are like On With the Show and Starry Eyes, and, you know, Dancing on Glass and stuff like that. Side, you would call them side B stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't get a whole lot of airplay, but they're still really good songs. So we try and mix it up. There's some definitely Crue heads out there that appreciate that, and, you know, they came to me after shows and said, you know, that was great for you guys too. Like Doc and Dead, On With the Show, Starry Eyes and old stuff like that nobody else is doing. So, and I like that old stuff, so that made me feel good that we did throw those in there.
Yeah. The cool thing about doing stuff like that is too, for a fan, how many people haven't heard Dr. Feelgood or Shout at the Devil, but on the radio one point or another, but not everybody's heard, Take Me, to the Top, or like you said, Starry Eyes. So it's great that you can turn people on to that music that they might have not heard before.
Yeah, I mean, we even do songs like Merry Go Round and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People are like, wow, man, no bands are doing that. And the last time I heard Motley Crue do that was 1983, so, I like doing those old songs like that. I think they have a great rhythm. We do Public Enemy #1 because, of course, the name of the band. But, I like those old songs. I like the deeper cuts, as you'd call them. They're fun to do. How Mick had designed those songs, as far as the guitar parts, it's amazing because there's like 5 or 6 guitar parts in there, but on the studio tracks. But when you play them live, of course, you only have one guitar. So it's amazing that Mick can do that. And for Frankie, my guitarist, he's amazing to build to reduplicate that same sound that Mick generated throughout the live show.
Yeah, talk about Mick Mars for a minute. I mean, I think people don't realize what a valuable guy he is in the band. I mean, for years people had no idea that he suffered the illness that he suffers from, but he's still there playing every night, and I guess that has a lot to do with why he's not jumping around on stage as much as other guys. But he's a big part of songwriting just as much as Nikki Sixx. So people think, oh, Vince the singer, but I think a lot of times people don't realize how big of a role Mick Mars played in the success of that band as well.
Oh, absolutely. And Mick Mars was actually a blues guy from the beginning. And then he mixed blues and rock and roll, and that's how you end up with Motley Crue. And it's a really good style. You can hear the bluesy riffs that he put them, some of the Smoking in the Boys' Room, he'll put those bluesy riffs in that song, and it sounded really, really good. And then you went to higher driving stuff, he said, okay, let's go to some like Bastard, some really hard hit songs. So he's a very, very talented guy.
Yeah, and let me ask you, I think I already know the question, so let me dare ask this, but do you guys ever throw anything off there from a '94 album with John Corabi, or do you kind of just stick it to the classic material?
We haven't done anything off the '94 album, but I'd love to do Hooligan's Holidays.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the radar, and I think that'd be fun to do. I mean, Corabi, man, he's a phenomenal singer and a great guitarist. But I think cut a lot of people off guard by self-titling the album Motley Crue.
Yeah.
They were expecting to hear Vince on there. When they didn't hear Vince on there, they had a problem with that. So, but John Corabi, he's a very, very talented vocalist and guitarist. It's a really good tight album. I mean, all the rest of the members of Motley Crue really liked it. I mean, Nikki Sixx and Mick, they really liked that stuff. So, but I think it was a great album.
Yeah, well, that's good because I'm a huge Corabi fan myself. It's just like you said. I think he got thrown in there, when maybe if they'd called it something else, it would have been more successful. And it's a shame because a lot of times people just, they don't really give the album a fair listen. And anybody give it a fair listen, the songs are all, just greatly written songs. And I think it's kind of cool for the first time to have two guys playing the guitar on an album.
Yeah, it actually adds a lot fuller sound when the band's playing live because you do have both those guitars going at once. If you'll listen, when Vince plays, Same Old Situation along with Mick, you can tell how full the sound is on that song. Or, when he, plays Don't Go Away Mad, he plays the acoustic portion in that. And we play that live and it's so full, it has that real deep fullness down. And it really makes a difference, though, when Corabi came in and had his guitar part with Mick, you could tell how full and how hard the sound was. It sounded really good.
Yeah, and so I imagine during your show you guys got to perform probably "Home Sweet Home," and what's that like? Is that the time when all the lighters come out in that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because our drummer, we call him T-Boner, Mr. Mike Blotzer, he wrote an intro to "Home Sweet Home," something like I've never heard before. It's so amazing. It's really, really good. And then he actually plays "Home Sweet Home" live on the piano.
Oh, I was going to ask you. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's an amazing drummer. I mean, I'm sure you know who his dad is, Mr. Bobby Blotzer from Rap. But
oh, wow.
He's a great drummer, and he's an excellent performer, and he's very, very talented. No matter what instrument he picks up, he can play really well.
So let me.
Fortunate to have him in the band.
So let me ask you: is Pop Blotzer come and checked out any of you guys' show?
He has not yet. We want to invite him out to any show. It'd be great to see him at one of the shows and maybe get him up there and have him play a song with us. Would be very cool.
Wow! That would be cool. So so let me ask you, like, from the time you got the band, first together, how long was it between getting the band first formed and getting all the guys in the band till you felt you were at the place where you could play that first show?
Actually, it came too quick. It came pretty quick, but I think too quick. We had only been together. We had the band, the four-piece together for about 2 months, and they had a Toys for Tots event, and we were invited to come and play. They needed some bands to come out and play, and we'd only been together 2 months. We kind of didn't want to do it, but it's such a great organization. Toys for Tots. We said, yeah, we'll do it. It's a charity event. We love charities, and so we'll come out and do it. And we were only together for 2 months, and it went over pretty good for our very first show. But as time progressed on, I think we've developed a lot better. We've done 110% better than our first show. So. And
so, what year did you say the band was first formed?
It was first formed in 2012.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, in December of 2012. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary this month of actually our first show. It was formed actually a little over 2 years if you count the very first day that myself and Nicky Licks had got together. But once we got the band formed, I think it's probably right around 2 years. Would be around the 15th of December.
And you guys got any things special, like for an anniversary show or anything like that coming up?
We don't have one yet, but we plan on putting one together. But it's funny because our anniversary will be in Idaho. We have a couple shows coming up in Idaho that we'll be traveling up there for. But that's going to be right during our anniversary time. So just kind of a coincidence we have a show on our anniversary. It's not really an anniversary show.
Yeah, I hear. But on that note, I got to ask you, Vince. Again, it's amazing the success you could have with the tribute band if you get the right group of guys together, like it seems like you guys have been able to do. On that note, are you at all surprised, being that you're a tribute band, that the fan base you've been able to build, like on your Facebook page and stuff?
Yeah, I look at the thing every day, and it's growing by leaps and bounds every day. It's hard to keep up sometimes. I did have Nicky running our Facebook page, but then I've taken it over. And it's a chore itself. I want to make sure that, our fans know how much we do appreciate and love them. And I try and tell them at every show and every once in a while on the Facebook page, I try to let them know that how much we do appreciate their support and their following of Public Enemy #1. I just let them know it's not easy to get a fan base. One, there's so many other Motley Crue tributes out there. You're competing with a lot of different bands. And for them to want to follow us is a blessing to us, and we really do appreciate that support.
And like a lot of tribute bands, you guys picked, reference to a song or something related to the band, which is cool. I gotta say, Public Enemy #1, I love that name because I just love the song itself. I mean that song, while it's not as huge of a hit as say like Dr. Feelgood or Girls, Girls, Girls. That song I always hear like in movies and TV shows. It's amazing the life that one song has had.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I picked that song because I was actually a singer for another Motley Crue tribute band here in Phoenix, and then we had a little bit of a falling out, so I started over again, and I was kind of angry at the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want to do this again, but I want to make sure I do it right, and, I want to find the right guys, and so, one of my friends says, man, you're like the Public Enemy #1 out here. I go, that's kind of funny, because it's one of my favorite songs from Motley Crue, and so that's how I came up with the name.
Wow.
Band. And then I asked the guys, I said, what do you guys think of this name? And they're like, oh, we're a bunch of delinquents. So, the name's very fitting for this band. I said, okay, cool thing, we're going to keep it. So. And
so what would you say that has helped you from your previous, Motley Crue tribute to make this one that much better of an experience? Because it seems like you learned a lot of things from the previous experience.
Yeah, what I learned is if you're not giving 110% of the band, then I don't feel like you'd want to do it. I was very, very, very lucky and fortunate to run into Frankie style. And, I think he is the backbone to Public Enemy #1. A lot of people think that me as being the singer is the backbone. I really don't see that. I see Frankie as the backbone he helps us through. It's kind of funny because Motley Crue has always fought like brothers and they love like brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's exactly how myself and Frankie Styles and Mike Blotcher and our new Nikki Fix is like, we're all like a band of brothers, you know. We're the first ones to yell at each other and the last ones to get behind their back. Somebody's going to get in a fight, you know. So we love like brothers and we fight like brothers, and you know, we're just a tight-knit band, and I think that's what you need in order to succeed. So we do treat each other like brothers, and we love each other like brothers. That's what makes us Public Enemy #1.
And do you think, in your experience of Public Enemy #1, do you think it makes it easier forming a band with a bunch of guys that you just responded to your ads, as opposed to being in a band with guys you've known all your life, or you've known since high school, or something like that?
Yeah, because when I started Public Enemy #1, I was looking for other guys that were as hungry as I was. You know, I could have went out there. I knew a few other band members that wanted to do it, but I was like, they didn't like Motley Crue, but they didn't like them like I like them. You know, I wanted them to be able to take that extra step and go, we love Motley Crue, and if we're going to do this, let's do this right. And the other people that friends of mine said, yeah, we'd be interested in doing it, but we don't know about the whole, dressing the part, looking at the part. I said, well, that's not a tribute then. To me, that's a cover band, and I don't want to be in a cover band, Motley Crue cover band. I actually want to do the tribute, tribute band and tribute scene. So, I still consider myself just very, very fortunate that I found guys that are as hungry as I am to want to do it correctly.
Yeah, I know it's not the exact same thing as like doing a Kiss tribute, but again, the look is a big part. So, how long does it take you to really get into costume and get into your Vince Neil mode before you guys go on stage?
Overall, it's about in between 2 and 3 hours. Hair and makeup's about an hour and a half, and then getting costume on and getting ready, and then warming up for 4 shows. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours.
And let me ask you, as far as your costumes, how long do those costumes usually last? I mean, I'd imagine some of these costumes you must have duplicates of in case, there's a malfunction or one of them breaks or something.
Actually, I don't have any duplicates because they're so expensive. Even me making my own costumes.
Yeah, I could imagine.
They cost between $500 and $1,000 to make one costume.
Wow.
That's me making it.
Wow.
Me taking it somewhere and having it made. That's actually doing it myself. So I only have one of each one. But, if I have a, wardrobe malfunction, I have all the tools that I usually bring with me that I can fix it if I need to. But, I think that I've designed them in a way that they're not going to break. And if they do, it's not going to be something significant that you would even notice. So, in between shows, after the show's over, I'll take it back to the house and I'll fix it back up and repair whatever, needs to be repaired. So, you'd never even know that it was broken.
Yeah, and on that note, I got to ask, again, this is not a band that just gets up in their jeans and T-shirts. So these costumes, the fact that they're that expensive to make, you must have to have a special place to store these things.
Yeah, I actually keep them in climate control bags, so garment bags. So I don't want them getting messed up for the money that I've gotten invested into them. I don't need them getting ruined in any way or fashion. Keep them away from cigarette smoke and stuff like that. Try and just keep them in a good climate and then in a good bag so they don't get dusty or dirty or anything like that.
And so do
if you get dirty, you have to have them dry clean. You can't just take them and clean them yourself. They all have to be dry clean. So.
And so do each of the guys make their own costumes, or do you help them with that?
I try and help them if I can, but Frankie actually goes to a seamstress to get his done, and Mike actually does his own costumes, and then Nikki makes his own costumes, and I'm going to be helping those guys out a little bit more with theirs, but, as far as the design of them, I try and help them out as much as I can, so they can, if you take it to a custom seamstress, you can spend a couple $1,000s on one costume.
I imagine some of you guys must the hair. Is that your guys' actual hair? Do you is there any part of you guys that wear wigs?
Some guys wear wigs in the band, but if they do wear a wig, it would be an actual human hair wig. So,
yeah.
It's not something you can go buy at some costume store.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. They're actually human hair wigs that get cut and styled and everything like that.
I mean, the reason I ask is I know some guys that they do go the length, they wear the wigs and stuff, and and nothing wrong with that, because again, you're trying to look the part. It's just that, like, again, when I look at these pictures, I'm like, man, especially in your case, Vince. I mean, like, you really look like Vince Neil back in the day. If I didn't know, I'd think it was a picture of Vince Neil, back from 1985 or whatever.
And thanks, I appreciate that. And like I said before, we try and go the extra mile to make sure that we look the part, and the photo right era, just make sure that the costumes are correct and the hair looks good and everything like that for each pair that we do.
Yeah, and not that you're in competition with anybody else out there, but have you ever had a chance to check out any other Motley Crue tributes? I mean, another band I interviewed, I think, is they have another one out there in Arizona called Livewire. Have you heard about them?
Yeah, actually, I know those guys. They're in Tucson. Livewire is a cool band. Those guys, they handle all the business in the Southwest region, and then we tend to handle everything up north. So yeah, those guys are pretty cool, man. I know Tommy and the other Nikki in there and stuff. Those guys are really cool guys. There's also another band here. My old band plays here too, and they do the newer Carnival of Sins look too. So we have 3 here in Arizona that I know of, and I think one more just sprung up somewhere else. So there's quite a few bands here.
And that's cool. And I talked to a couple of these other tribute bands, and they were telling me that, like, maybe, like, if you guys had a show and maybe your bass player fell ill, that you might grab somebody from another Motley Crue tribute or another musician friend and throw them in there. Have you guys had to do anything like that yet?
No, we had a show planned in Texas, and we had some problems there. We were going to have a fill-in bass player, and so I reached out to some other bands, some other Motley Crue bands, to see if they maybe had a bass player that was available. It's a competition. I guess it would be a competition, but it's a friendly competition. It's like if we're going to do it, let's do it right. But we're like that. I mean, we're trying to get along with every other tribute out there. If they need somebody, to fill in because they don't want to cancel a gig or whatever, we're pretty relaxed like that. So we try and help each other as much as we can. Yeah,
that's cool. And like we were talking earlier, your fan base. Just even go on your Facebook page. A couple times I have. Seems like your fan base is growing pretty regularly. And on that note, I'd like to ask you, like, again, not that you're in competition with anybody, but with that being said, what do you think people really taking notice of Public Enemy #1 finally? I mean, you're one of the Motley Crue tribute bands that's starting to make some serious noise out there right now.
Thanks. Yeah, from the fan base, the messages that we get from them and stuff, I think they're probably we're up there in one of the top professional Motley Crue tributes out there. Not only just statewide here in Arizona, but nationwide. We've had several requests to come to the Midwest and play, and then up in Canada and over in the UK and Japan. So we're getting lots of requests to play even worldwide. So that's something we're definitely looking at doing it in the future. We're just trying to find a good management and booking company to book all these shows, because it is a lot of work. Yeah,
I was going to ask you, and and on that note, like to go do some shows in Canada, I imagine another thing comes into play is if the funds are there for the traveling and that.
Yeah, I mean it's not cheap to book a tribute band because once they realize exactly what kind of band you're booking, I think cover bands are a little bit cheaper because they don't have to spend the money on the costumes.
Yeah.
And we don't just do it's not just that you go to a show and you see some guys up there playing some Motley Crue music and they're singing the songs and stuff. Ours is an entire show. It's a professional production. I mean, we have fire fog machines going off, and we have all kinds of different stage props and everything like that. So we spend a lot of money on the whole production.
Yeah.
It's not just the band that they're playing. So they understand, when you're hiring a band like this, you're not hiring a garage band. You're hiring a professional tribute band.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing, like you said. I go online just searching for tribute bands and stuff to talk to, and they have professional, like you're saying, booking agencies that do nothing but book shows for tribute bands and stuff. It's become really quite a big business. So I was going to ask you, but you kind of answered this already, if you guys just tour locally, but where's the farthest place you guys have played outside of the Arizona area?
Well, our first show outside of Arizona was supposed to be Texas, and then we had some problems. We had just bought a van, and we had some issues on our trip going to Texas with our band, so we had to cancel those shows. So Idaho will be the farthest show that we'll be doing currently. We have some stuff on the books for next year that I'm not allowed to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Next year, we have some things that are going to be even further out on the East Coast. So, but for right now, it would be Idaho, and that's about a 14-hour drive, about 1,000 miles. So it's pretty far out there.
Wow. And so now, right now, you guys are pretty much self-managed. You're booking all the shows for the band, and you guys pretty much conduct all your own business?
Yeah, I actually try and handle all the booking myself. If we can, Mike tries to help out a little bit, but mostly I handle all the booking. Like I said, next year we're going with a booking and a management company. But for right now, I work a full-time job, and I also do book all the gigs and the shows, and I try and take care of the Facebook page and do costumes, and so I spend a lot of time on my band stuff.
I mean, it's interesting because you, like a lot of other musicians I've talked to, this isn't something you do full time, although it's almost like a second job, like you said. So if you don't mind me asking, what do you do in your everyday day job?
Yeah, I'm a payroll manager for a large company.
Oh wow, how cool! And then you kind of manage the band, so that kind of goes hand in hand. That helps, with a management experience, I guess. But is it ever? Do the two jobs ever get in the way? Like, I imagine the day job comes first, but does that ever get in the way of the band doing any traveling or anything?
It hasn't yet, because I'll take vacation if I need it or something like that. But I'm totally looking forward to doing this full time. I've talked to the rest of the band members, and they all want to do it full time too. So that's what we're looking at doing next year. So maybe I'll get lucky enough that we can book enough shows next year that we can do this full time, and I won't have to work another job. And
as far as the shows, you when you book these shows, I was curious. A lot of the shows you're booking, are they like at places you've played before, or do you get a lot of the shows, through other, guys, and other tribute acts?
Most of the shows that I've booked, we've played once before, or if it's something new, somebody else has said, hey, can you play a show with us, or reached out to us. We know that you're one of the better tribute acts out there. We'd like to do a show with you. Can we hook up and do a show, at such and such place? And more than if we don't have anything booked, we're more than accommodate and help them out, and it's more exposure for us too. So it's a really good thing. And so, how many shows do you guys typically do a year? Does it kind of just depend, where the shows are going to be, or? Last year I think we did. This year is not over yet. But this year I think we've had right around 26 shows, I want to say. Oh, that's pretty wild. So let me ask, as far as you guys making money doing this, because again, you're tribute bands, and a lot of the money I imagine that you guys make come from the ticket sales. So, after you guys, for example, do finish a show, is the money split equal among the band members? How does that work? I was just kind of curious. Yeah, actually, we don't sell tickets. We get paid a flat rate. Oh, okay. Depending on where we're going to play, for how many people, and the type of venue that is, dictates the amount. Whether it's in-state or out-of-state would dictate, what the fee would be. Oh, that's kind of yeah. Yeah, it's all agreed upon front. We don't have to sell tickets, anything like that. Oh, that's kind of cool, because a lot of the bands out here in LA, believe it or not, even that play the famous Hollywood Strip and that, they still have what's called pay to play, where they'll give the tribute bands that play out here, $200, $300 tickets, and they gotta be able to get rid of all of these tickets. A lot of times they give them out to the fans for free, but you gotta be able to book, pack the house, and if you don't get people in there, you don't get to play the venue again. Yeah, they tried that here in Arizona. That doesn't go over very well. So a pay to play is usually for, the way I see that is a pay to play is usually for a regional band that's trying to get exposure. When you're doing a tribute of a band that already has notoriety, such as Motley Crue, people already know what they're going to see. There's no surprise there. They know that they're going to see this tribute band. They're going to see something from the '80s. something that there's a lot of money invested into this production. So for a band like that to have to sell tickets would be ludicrous because you already know that you're going to bring in a solid fan base already.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about being a Motley Crue tribute, like you said. People coming to your show, you kind of got a built-in audience in the sense that people come to see you guys play. They already have an idea of the songs they're going to hear, and but again, Motley Crue fans, they're really diehard, a lot of them. So you get the diehards where they really come and they pay attention to every little word you say. You must get people like, oh man, you messed up on that song. It wasn't. You said the wrong word. I mean, Motley Crue fans, like I was saying, they're really diehard.
Yeah, actually, I haven't had that problem yet. But if I do, I'm sure that the true crew heads, as we like to call them, would definitely bring it up. Thankfully, I studied the lyrics day in and day out, and I've been singing them for 25 years, so I know them pretty well. And if I mess up, then that probably means I had too much to drink.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I don't drink before shows, anything like that. So I'm pretty solid on remembering what the lyrics are and how they go and everything like that. So I think to do the band justice, you really have to put forth the effort like that.
Yeah, and again, just taking time. Anybody takes time to go on your Facebook page and just look at all the hard work and dedication as far as the detail you put in your costume and getting the look right. I mean, again, it's more than just 4 guys, put on the jeans and t-shirts and jumping up on stage. You guys are putting on a real, cruise show. And as far as the pyrotechnics, you guys allowed to do any of that? Like, do you light Nikki on fire or anything during your show?
Yeah, a lot of clubs you can't have fire in them anymore thanks to Great White.
Yeah.
But we try to put up as much, fake pyro, if you will, as we can. But that's all part of the stage shows. If we're doing an outdoor event, of course we can have limited pyro. But definitely indoors that got stopped when the Great White fiasco happened. But, it kind of hurt the rest of the bands for that. But we try to sneak in stuff every now and then if we can.
Well, Vince, it's been really great talking, and I won't keep you any longer. But before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to thank you, Jason, for the interview and taking the time to do this. Chaotic Riffs, everybody, is an excellent website. Please go check that out. Jason is a big supporter of the tribute scene, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate all of our fans, the #1 fans, checking us out. And if you get a chance, please check us out on Facebook. Public Enemy #1, Motley Crue Tribute.
Yeah, and Vince, the last thing I'm going to tell you, the interesting thing is, I interviewed your guitar player, Frankie, and when we first posted the interview, first couple of days, I check it every day to see who's checking out the site, and he only had like 2 or 3 views, and then it's just kind of taken on a life of its own. It's now, like last time I looked tonight, it was up to 59 views, and that's one of the interviews that's just getting a lot of traction. Hopefully your interview will do the same, so thanks for doing this.
You bet. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate all your time again tonight. I know you're a busy man, so I won't keep you any longer. And
just shoot me your email when you get a chance tonight, and I'll send you a copy of the interview, and maybe I can get the other 2 guys in the band to do an interview. You can let me know if they're interested.
Yeah, they're definitely interested, so we'll set that up.
Okay. Thanks again, Vince. You take care. Bye-bye.